Welcome, everybody. Real happy to be able to bridge a gap between the national SBIR activity and our local community. Well, maybe not a gap, but bridge the messaging, let's say. As many of you know who have joined us, this particular SBIR drop, fiscal year 22, it's called 22.1/A. The point one is SBIR. The /A is STTR. It is historically, and certainly this goes for this year, the largest drop of the year in terms of projects. There are two sites, and I know I put them in emails before, but I'm going to be looking at them on my small screen. SBIR.gov is the major site that talks about all of the SBIRs and STTRs across all of the government agencies, DoD and beyond. And then to get more specific, particularly for our undersea and maritime community, you have the Navy SBIR STTR site, and it's navysbir.com. And I believe all these references were in emails that you would have gotten in the invitation and the build up to this. But I encourage you, if you haven't already done so as a company, go into those sites, look at what the Navy is proposing for this cycle, and there's tons and tons of opportunities, phase one, phase two, as well as go into the regular SBIR site to look what's happening beyond Navy, because whether it's the National Science Foundation or Department of Energy, there's a lot of opportunity that could be relevant to the technologies and the companies in our ecosystem. So it shouldn't be only contained to what you look at in the Navy. As our invitations mentioned, NUWC, the big Navy, they're doing a national rollout. Typically, they go all around the country and they visit certain places and they bring out their technical points of contact. They're called TPOCs in the industry. Their technical points of contact and the technical program managers to talk to various folks, companies, technology organizations, entrepreneurs, startups who might be interested in learning more about the projects. And there's big and small companies that they talk to. And it's all done during this phase called pre-release. The topics were launched December 1st, and pre-release lasts until I believe it's mid-December. So we have about another week or so for actually early January, excuse me, I misspoke, early January, to be able to look at a topic, call up a technical point of contact or a technical program manager and say, hey, I have a question. They may not be able to answer all the questions depending on how technical it is or how much it involves proprietary responses. But if you say, I need some help navigating or whatever, they can usually pick up a phone and help you. Once that period ends early January and it goes to open period, that's where usually pens are at paper, heads are down, and companies are doing their proposals until that cycle closes. And once it closes and proposals are in, and people have stated whether they're interested or not and pursuing it or not, that's when it gets quiet for a while because they're off, evaluating proposals and making awards and whatnot until the next cycle happens in the spring. So with this being, again, such a plentiful cycle, we thought, wouldn't it be great if we can complement what the big Navy's doing? And because of COVID, they're only doing 2 rollout tours this year. One was last Tuesday on the 7th. The next one is later this week. And we thought we'd wedge ourselves in the middle and say, okay, they're going to be talking about big Navy opportunities and answering questions. But first, because so little of it is virtual, there's a small virtual component on the New Mexico one. No virtual component happened last Tuesday on the Boston one. Sometimes it's a little overwhelming because you want to get there and there's a lot happening. So we thought we'd complement that with having the folks around in your own ecosystem that are here to provide support and guidance and leadership and resources and other types of assistance for anybody in our community who might want to pursue this. So today is Around the Horn with these great organizations that we have had the good fortunate to partner with in 401 Tech Bridge. And I'd like to give everybody a chance to talk about them, their organizations. You'll see a name, a face, contact information, and you'll have a series of points of contact after this call. So with that, why don't, oh, and this is being recorded, by the way. Hopefully nobody is in a witness protection program and we don't have to keep you off camera on our end. You do that on your end. And we promise not to tell anybody you were here. But with that, is Christian on, Miguel?
I think I am, Lee.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. So we're going to kick it off with Christian, who is the director, the executive director of 401 Tech Bridge. If you could explain 401 Tech Bridge and Northeast Tech Bridge, go.
Okay, thanks. I will try to adhere my best to the 10 minutes and very much appreciate working with Lee and bringing this all together. Great idea, perfect idea to make sure that we help. 401 Tech Bridge is a piece of an ecosystem supporting SBIR development. So happy to be here and talking with this group. I will talk a bit generically about 401 Tech Bridge and then talk a little more specifically about how we can play a role in supporting SBIRs and that ecosystem with our industrial-based partners. So the 401 Tech Bridge moniker is connect, create, and commercialize. So we really see ourselves as supporting higher level TRL activities, kind of think of the TRL 7 through 9, so to speak, for companies in Rhode Island and also in New England. We have the goal of accelerating technology and commercialization through supporting with our people, our programs, and our spaces. You can see our funders at the bottom. We're lucky enough to have an EDA grant to support a build out of a building in Portsmouth I'll talk about in a little while. We do have funding from the state and some philanthropic organizations, and of course, the Office of Naval Research, which you see over on the right-hand side. 401 Tech Bridge was really started with collaboration between two different bases here in Rhode Island, the textile base with the Rhode Island Textile Innovation Network, the member companies associated with that, and the Composite Alliance of Rhode Island. So those companies were really looking for a way to grow their top line with new and innovative products. Polaris MEP is the Manufacturing Extension Partnership program here in the state of Rhode Island. So those three organizations really collaborated very closely in order to find different opportunities to help companies grow their top line. And that was the genesis for 401 Tech Bridge of how do we bring technology to help make new products and better products based in the material spaces, really encompassing both textiles and composites at the end use application. This slide really shows the heart of 401 Tech Bridge. When I think about what 401 Tech Bridge does, I think of this group of people. I think you all already know the fantastic Lee Silvestri, who again I'm honored to work with every day. Mary Johnson, Linda Larson, and Miguel on the phone on this call as well. Susan Daly is our strategic advisor. I think many of you knew she was with the Marine Trades Association for years. As well as embedding herself in a lot of high-tech industry herself, as well as education, including the Irish School of Technology and Trades. Lucky enough to have Randy Brandenburg as our board chair, who is recently retired from Raytheon. Been a fantastic advocate in helping us figure out how to push forward our industry partners, both on the DoD and on the non-DoD side. So I'll talk a little bit about 401 Tech Bridge and the Northeast Tech Bridge partnership. Lee mentioned this. So the way I really describe it and think about it, 401 Tech Bridge is the nonprofit PIA partner. PIA is a partnership intermediary agreement for the Tech Bridge program, and the Northeast Tech Bridge is inside the gates at NUWC. So we really together look up and down the East Coast to find companies to solve problems that the Navy is having on base, both from a Northeast standpoint, and we partner with the Tech Bridge network nationally, where there's I think 15 or more tech bridges now across the globe. So that relationship is key, where 401 Tech Bridge integrates with companies, integrates with academia, other partners outside the fences, and we really work with our Navy partners to solve problems that the Navy has on base at NUWC. This is a good little Venn diagram that describes a little bit more detail of how the Northeast Tech Bridge and 401 Tech Bridge partner together. I'm not going to go through all of these words, but it's important to understand the distinction between a 401 Tech Bridge being able to do some things that the Navy can't do. So we're able to do tech scouting in a faster, more nimble way. We're able to have some business advocacy to make sure that new innovative businesses are exposed to the Navy, and though potentially their technology is leveraged by the Navy down the road. And SBIR, STTR matchmaking is on that 401 Tech Bridge side as well. So we do our best to make sure that we expose SBIRs and STTR opportunities into companies here in Rhode Island and beyond in the Northeast. Where on the Navy side, proposal reviews, partnership agreements, excuse me, program offices and technical points of contact. It's kind of a perfect relationship on one side of the fence and the other that Northeast Tech Bridge and 401 Tech Bridge has. So a little bit of examples on the 401 Tech Bridge programming to kind of relate how we support SBIRs and STTRs. So Composite Energy Technologies, formerly known as GERTS. Some of you may know them as GERTS Composites. An example, we have helped and supported and partnered with CET in terms of SBIR and STTR applications, which ended up leading into some prize challenges. So this specific prize challenge that CET applied for, the Navy was looking for a 10,000 PSI composite vessel, so a round tube that goes under the water. They just wanted help in making sure that that vessel survived that high pressure. Composite Energy Technologies developed some products, did some testing, worked with the Navy. The Navy was happy with it, and ended up being transferred into a prize challenge where Composite Energy Technologies won $1 million award. And I think that's, from my point of view, an important aspect of what 401 Tech Bridge is looking to support this entire SBIR ecosystem. How do we make sure that we do our best to take SBIR opportunities and companies that can solve them into broader applications? Because at the end of the day, we're really all interested in this technology getting into the hands of the warfighter. Prize challenges are one example of that. So 401 Tech Bridge has received more prize challenges or we're facilitating more prize challenges than just that one with CET. There is another $300,000 funding program that is in execution now, as well as two other $280,000 funding sources. So again, I really look at SBIRs as a stepping stone into something bigger and it's got more potential. And eventually, the idea is these prize challenges will lead into hopefully a long-term contract and or an OTA, which is the end goal, which is facilitated by UTIC. I also put this slide in here just to make sure everybody's aware, although this is not directly Navy focused. 401 Tech Bridge is helping facilitate a mass challenge blue tech cohort, where we are making sure that there is a Navy DoD focus in a lot of those applications. This is the first cohort this is the first cohort focused on blue tech. We expect there to be several more, especially with the blue technology focus here in the state of Rhode Island. So I just put this up there to make sure that everyone understands that SBIRs, there are lots of, programming that can support SBIR activity, and then helping that SBIR activity develop into broader and broader economic opportunities. Very, very quickly, the 401 Tech Bridge facility. So I mentioned that 401 Tech Bridge supports higher level TRL activities with our people, our programming, and our places. We are building out a catalytic center in Portsmouth, Rhode Island, where we'll have labs and co-working spaces that is intended to bring together industry, government, and academia to develop those next products, to take those products into production, pilot production. This is exciting for us. We're going, our construction phase, we expect to start in Q1. So we'll have a ribbon cutting in the middle of the year next year, and I hope you're all able to come to that. That'll be exciting for all of us. So just quickly in summary, for Owen Tech Bridge, we are positioned uniquely with the Northeast Tech Bridge and our NUWC partners. We are really targeted for that higher level technology progression and commercialization efforts. And we are already partnered. We've got again, a partnership intermediary agreement with NUWC Newport. We have very close ties with a bunch of industry companies, able to connect them into SBIR companies or partner in with companies that are applying for SBIRs too. I think that's an important part, and we've done that before. And we're also able to very quickly help people understand SBIRs, all the interrelated programs. I will say largely the way that we're able to do that is because of Lee Silvestri. She knows, she's forgotten more about SBIRs than I will ever know, I think. So her understanding of that, both the programming and partners in that space is critical. So the team at 401 Tech Bridge, I'm incredibly proud of and happy to work with. And I think we're all doing our best to support the progression of SBIR activity in Rhode Island and the greater Northeast. And that was my last slide.
Christian, only you can take 30 minutes of content and put it into 10 minutes of speaking time. Thank you. Christian's briefing, and I'll mention this again, just give a shout if you'd like copies of what you see today. Christian's briefing is loaded with great information. One thing I will mention to complement what Christian said, obviously Christian and the organization of 401 in our region, very focused on maritime, undersea technology, DoD, Navy-related technology relative to SBIRs. But where our talent base and our companies and our startups go beyond that, please keep in mind that as part of this Naval X Tech Bridge network, Christian mentioned the outside Navy PIA partner, the intermediary is 401, the inside Navy is Northeast. They are part of a network that goes right across DoD, well, right across the Navy and has tentacles out into DoD. So while our intense relationships are here at NUWC, we have relationships and dialogue and open communication with folks right across the Navy, and in many cases can get at folks right across the whole defense ecosystem. So don't let it stop you if you have a need, a business need, a growth objective that you would like service that falls outside of the Navy or maritime component. We can try to give you a hand with that too. Thank you, Christian, very much. We'll move on to Sarah from the Naval Undersea Warfare Center Division Newport. Sarah, you want to go next?
Sure. Great. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, great. Good afternoon. I want to take a minute to welcome everybody to this forum. My name is Sarah Hurd. I run the Office of Small Business here at NUWC. I've been in the role about a year, so you might have seen my face or heard my voice on one of our division's events. But I just wanted to take a minute to talk a little bit about my role, our office, the process, and some of the research I've had. So what is the Office of Small Business and what do I do? So as a stakeholder in all the division's requirements, I work with our division subject matter experts to ensure the maximum practicable opportunity for small business. So try to get small business involved in all of our solicitations. So I meet small business concerns to discuss their capabilities, which I usually take and provide to our technical teams, and they use that for market research. So when I talk about market research efforts, we give them the information that we have. We also put out sources sought. We do requests for information and working with industry to identify whether or not there are folks that can perform the work that we do here. If we do determine through our market research efforts that a solicitation is going to be unrestricted or that there's not a small business that can, I work with the team to determine how we maximize small business involvement. So that's either small business participation or small business subcontracting. I also work with our industry partners, our what we call Code 02 contracts department and the small business community, whether that's the Department of Navy Office of Small Business, the Small Business Administration, and our local procurement technical assistance, see if there's events that would benefit the community. So industry days, Seaport Council meetings, workshops like this, or matchmaking events. And really the goal of my office is to be a resource for all businesses, but with a focus on developing the industry base of small businesses. Miguel, if you could go to the next slide. So the Navy really is committed to increasing small business participation in its actions. I just want to take a minute to review our FY21 performance with regards to small business here at the division. So this is what our performance looked like for fiscal year 2021. In FY21, we obligated $745 million, and that accounted for $255 million to small business, or just over 34% of all of our dollars. And $490 million went to other than small business. As compared to FY20, small business dollar obligations grew by 12% year over year. I'm really into the data, so I'll give you a couple more data points to think about. During FY21, the division awarded to 269 different small businesses. So we have a pretty vast portfolio. And within the small business portfolio, I know this is a little bit of an eye chart, but the little circles on the bottom depict the division's goals for multiple socioeconomic categories. The Navy looks at awarding to different socioeconomic categories, including small disadvantaged business, service disabled, veteran-owned small business, women-owned small business, and hub zone. And you can see from looking at this, we're green across the board because we met all of our small business and socioeconomic goals. But it's really not just the goals that drive the Navy and NUWC to increase small business participation. A 2019 Small Business Administration report showed that America has over 30 million businesses that support more than 56 million small business jobs. And in the New England area, small businesses account for nearly 96% of all of our employers. So in order for the New England area to thrive, we really need to support our small businesses as they're a driving factor to our region's economy. Another fact that I'll give you is that small businesses employ nearly 40% of America's scientists and engineers. In order for the Navy and its industrial base to respond innovatively to defense challenges, we really need small businesses to be successful. Miguel, if you go to the next slide. So this is my last slide, and then I'm going to talk a little bit more specifically about NUWC and SBIRs. But this discusses some of the resources that are available on our division small business page. I have the link included there. On our program's website, we have our long range acquisition forecast, or what's called the LRAF, which is really the division's forecast for contracts over $700,000 that are expected to come out in the next 3 to 24 months. On our small business site, we also have any past industry day slides. So I think we have the last 3 industry days that are out there, and Ocean State Workshop slides. We've also got links to our stakeholders, contracts, the tech bridge, our partnership office. So I've given you the resources we have here, but I want to take some time to talk about my office and its role in NUWC's SBIR, STTR process, or STTR process, sorry. The division has had a pretty substantial portfolio of SBIR projects over the past few years. From FY16 to FY21, which was last year, the division grew from 16 technical points of contact working on topics with industry to over 150 last year. So our role has grown in this process. This year, our division has 21 topics for this cycle. The way the process has worked in the past, there's typically 3 phase 1 awards that come out from each topic, which is usually then down selected to 1 phase 2 award from each topic. In my true government fashion, I will put a disclaimer and say that this is typical, but not always the case. Our technical points of contact identified are available to answer questions during this preliminary phase, as Lee touched upon. And in the solicitation, either a telephone number or an email has been provided. If you do have trouble reaching any of those folks, you can always follow up with me. It's not usually an issue, but if you do have a problem reaching them, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Once the awards occur, our technical points of contacts are working really closely with the small businesses to help leverage the talent within the small business and aligning their efforts with the Navy need, and also in making connections between the small business or academia and the relevant government points of contact. What our technical points of contact don't do is influence the small business's direction on where they're going. Really, the value is in the innovation of the small business. The program manager who's here at the division really looks at the SBIR, STTR program as something that touches all our systems and all of our transition efforts. And that's why he's really been invested in growing this program over years since he got involved with the program. And I would be remiss if I didn't take a moment to touch upon a success story out of a NUWC SBIR. Under Navy SBIR topic N111-042, Texas Research Institute Austin, which is TRI Austin, developed an overmold system for Navy cables to protect against cathodic delamination. In other words, premature bond failure of submarine canoes. The technology originated from a 2008 NUWC independent applied research effort, which was worked with the NUWC point of contact, Dr. Tom Ramatowski. That effort transitioned to an SBIR topic, and then there was a phase 1 award, a phase 2 award, and then there was a phase 2 reach back award, which kind of supported the present technology development. But out of that SBI effort, the Navy's installed more than 400 of these connectors on Virginia-class submarines, specifically for the lightweight wide aperture array, or the LWA, with the projected savings over $150 million for the life of that program. So this is really a great example of how SBIR worked to align a Navy need and was then transitioned to the program of record. Again, I want to thank you for your time. If you have any follow-up questions, please don't hesitate to reach out via email or telephone. I've included my contact information. I'm certainly not an expert on this topic, but I can help you put the folks who are the experts and can help answer your questions. I think that's all I've got, Lee. Thanks.
Thank you. Sarah Hurd is one of the most user-friendly, pleasant, collegial people I think you'd ever find on the government side. Not that there's not others, but she is a friendly face. She is open to dialogue, and she will do everything in her power, I know this firsthand, to help answer questions as long as it's something that can be answered on the Navy side. Thank you very much, Sarah.
Thanks, have Lee.
A quick question. What are the criteria for consideration as a small business? Well, so for a small business to be considered small business, what's the criteria?
There's a whole bunch of different criteria. It's probably a better answer to take offline, but it depends on the NAICS code that you're in, what kind of work you do. It's sort of not a straightforward answer. But if the person wants, I can follow up with them after. Put their contact information in the chat.
Okay, so basically, and I agree, it is based on the industry sector you're in. So let's pursue this further at some point. But that it was seconded by a thumbs up on that question. So I know it's more than one person.
Great.
Sarah, thank you very much.
Okay.
Next, we have a wonderful organization. Well, they're all wonderful, but the really great partner organization in the state called the Procurement and Technical Assistance Program, PTAC. We affectionately know it mostly as PTAC, so sometimes we forget what it stands for, but it really is all about assistance and the role that they play across many, many industries. So with that, Melody?
As Lee said, I'm Melody Weeks. I am the program manager for the Rhode Island Procurement Technical Assistance Center. There are 96 different programs around the country. We are a statewide run program that is funded by the Department of Defense, that is housed at Rhode Island Commerce Corporation. We all do things a little bit differently, but our main mission is to make sure that a company can be successful and they're well positioned to be competitive in the government marketplace. And there are a variety of ways to do that. If we can go to the next slide, please. This is just a snapshot of what we did here in Rhode Island last year. When you look at the client industries we served, those are the primary industry that a company is involved with. But we know that some of our manufacturing firms also do some service and also do some R&D work. So this just gives you an idea of the scope of the types of companies we work with. When you look at the bottom middle of value of awarded contracts, the majority of those are federal. And as Lee has mentioned, there is a focus on Navy here in Rhode Island, but we work with companies who do business actually around the world for all federal agencies. Let's go to the next slide, please. So when a small business decides that they want to get into the government marketplace, the biggest challenge is where do they start? And these are the 4 questions we can help a client answer. Just getting a contract is only about 50% of the process. Once you've won an award, we help you determine next steps and how to become successful with that process. Let's go to the next slide, please. Different programs around the country how they handle their clientele. We work with startups. Some programs around the country require that a company be in business for at least 2 years. We like to work with a company and help build a solid foundation when they first get started. We work with any type of business structure. We work with our friends at the Small Business Development Center to make sure that our companies are well positioned in their business space before they start working with us. And although the final block, internet access, email, and phone, seems fairly basic, we have a lot of companies here in Rhode Island that try to do business from our phone. And it's very difficult to look at contracts, PDFs, large files, just working from your phone. So we want to make sure everybody has the tools they need to do the job well. Let's go to the next slide, please. When a company comes to us, these are some of the questions we typically ask them. We want to make sure that they really are ready for government contracting, whether it be SBIR, STTR, an OTA, or whether it's just a straight procurement opportunity. We want to make sure that they're well positioned to step in and be able to perform should they be given an award. And sometimes we find that companies need to do a little bit of extra work with some of our other partners before they're ready to step into the government space. A lot of times we know that, in particular with research and development companies, that you have the technical capacity and capabilities. Sometimes it's the business and that needs a little bit of propping up, and we can help you do that. Let's go to the next slide, please. So this is a sampling of some of the services we offer. We have a team of 4 here in Rhode Island. 3 of us work directly with clients. We do a lot of work with market analysis and identifying opportunities. And working with TechBridge staff, we can help you identify topics that may be appropriate for your company. We look at all of the 11 agencies that do SBIR work. So sometimes people get, laser focused on working just with the Navy or just with the Air Force. Sometimes we encourage them to look a little bit more broadly because you never know who's going to want what you have. In regard to execution, once you've got an award, a lot of times a company, especially once they receive their first one, aren't sure what to do. So we walk you through the steps, how to approach it, and how to get your invoicing done so you can get paid. Compliance is a huge part of doing business with the federal government, and we want to make sure that people are following the rules, doing what they're supposed to do, and are staying on track. We also help companies, large and small, with subcontracting. We work with large primes and federal government agencies to find companies to match with a particular need. So as I said, these are just some of the tools that we provide to our clients. If we can go to the next slide, please. Here are some of the topics that we've done over the past year. We do training in a lot of different ways. We do forums such as these. We do a lot of one-on-one with clients. And over the past year, I've gone into about 6 firms and trained an entire department or staff. I went in to talk to a group of engineers about how to develop a proposal, what they should be looking for when they read a solicitation. So when you start to go through the SBIR solicitation, you understand what the acronyms mean, what the FAR, the Federal Acquisition Regulation Clauses mean, the DFARs, so you have a good grasp of how you should respond and what you're committing to should you receive an award. As with anything federal, there are lots of acronyms. Half the battle is understanding those and the context for the agency they're being used in. And as you can see, this particular slide has got a lot of the acronyms on it that we deal with on a daily basis. Can we go to the next slide, please? CMMC, I don't want to do a deep dive into this, but with cyber requirements, we want to make sure that you're aware of them. The playing field is changing constantly with this, but we want to make sure that you know what you are committing to and the clauses that you should be looking for in your contracts when you receive an award document. The 3 resources at the bottom, we work with Polaris MEP to help businesses become certified if that's the route they need to go. DoD has started the Project Spectrum website where it is no cost to small businesses as you can go online and find a variety of resources so you can determine where you fit before you actually engage with other types of consultants. Let's go to the next slide, please. In addition to working with large and small businesses, we also work closely with the federal agency staff. Here in New England, I am part of a group called the DoD Northeast Regional Council. That group is comprised of federal agencies, PTACs, and prime contractors in the defense sector. It's a good way for us to network, to connect companies with others who have a particular need, allows us to do training. We help with subcontracting plans for the large primes. Just last week, I had a large prime call about 2 different clients wanting some background on each. Did we work with them? What did we think? Were they ready to step into this particular space? Let's go to the next slide, please. Again, prime utilization, we provide market research for them. I've helped them draft different documents for small businesses. Just really depends on the prime agents, or excuse me, the prime contractor and what they have a need for. Next slide, please. This is a quick look at our staff. As you can see, we're small, but based on the impact slide, we do relatively well here in Rhode Island. To become a client, you would go to our website. There's no fee for our services. You sign up within 24 to 48 hours, somebody reaches back to you. We determine a time to meet, and then we sit with you for an hour or so, figure out next steps, and we move on from there. That's it, Lee.
Oh, thank you, Melody. Melody mentioned primes a couple of times, and for the small companies on the call or the people that are new in the DoD sector piece, the primes refer to the large system integrators, the large companies like could be Raytheon or Lockheed Martin or BAE, L3Harris, Huntington Ingalls, General Dynamics Electric Boat, people that are in our ecosystem that have a lot, if not everything, to do a lot of times with the large systems, the platforms, the ships, the submarines, the hulls, whatever it might be. They're important in our ecosystem in that not only do they garner a lot of resources and they can offer a lot of help and they can do all the wonderful things that Melody talks about with PTAC that she mentions, but also they can provide a context for a technology that may eventually fit onto a system or fit into a system and have to be integrated later on. So sometimes their partnership is really key in terms of getting a technology that as a standalone technology, of course, is very important, but to be of greatest utility in DoD would have to be integrated into something. So that's that context there that we can help you with. Thank you so much, Melody. So next we have a commerce group, and commerce groups are not unique to each state, but in Rhode Island, we are a small state with a very, very big and influential commerce organization. So we have Rhode Island Commerce, and with that, Christine Smith, if you want to take it from here.
Sure, thanks, Lee, and thank you very much for having me here today. I'd love to talk to you about our programs, and I especially love coming after Melody, because I think that demonstrates what a broad support we have at Commerce for our tech-based companies who have high potential and have lots of products to develop that can be useful to our defense agencies and to our warfighters. So I don't have a slide today because unlike Melody, my contribution through Commerce is a little bit more targeted. So if to look at our thought, I guess back in 2013, actually it was the industry groups, both the bio and the engineering companies came together, and they worked very hard to get a matching program for SBIR grants started. And so since 2013, we've been able to provide state matching grants to companies that receive the federal awards. And the concept behind that is just, very straightforward. Is because we would like to have more companies participating in the program, and we want to have those companies that participate be very, very successful. And from a state standpoint, we don't want to be vetting those companies, but we're very happy to put our state dollars behind those companies that have been vetted by the federal government. So we receive $1 million a year from the General Assembly. These are state tax dollars, and we run a number of programs. The two primary programs are the matching grants. So if you as a company participate in the SBIR STTR program and you receive a phase 1 federal award, you may apply to the Commerce Corporation, actually to the Rhode Island Science and Technology Advisory Council, which is part of Commerce. And you may receive a grant of up to $45,000 or 30% of your federal award. If you are successful and you go on to phase 2, you may also receive a grant for that stage, and that would be up to $100,000 or 10% of your federal award. So, again, the philosophy is to give you some additional funding to help you bring on the expertise you need in staffing. Perhaps there is a piece of equipment that didn't fit into the federal award. Either there wasn't, the room for it in the budget, or it was something that wasn't allowed. But we want to give you just that little bit extra to make sure that as you're going through this very difficult process, that you have a little bit more in financial resources behind you and your product development. So those are the two primary programs within our SBIR granting mechanism. But we also want to help you when you're just starting off to even develop a proposal, because those proposals are daunting, they're time consuming, and they cost money. They cost staff time. And so we can provide you with a grant of up to $3,000 to offset the cost of putting together an SBIR proposal. And again, we want to give you some funding so that you can participate in the program, but also that you have a little bit of extra resources. So if you need to bring on extra help outside of your organization, or even if it's just helpful to be able to pay some of your engineers to write these proposals, we want to give you those resources. So we have that we call it a phase 0 grant to offset costs. We have the phase 1 and we have the phase 2. Now, important and this was a program targeted to our smaller companies. And so to participate, you do need to have 50 or fewer employees. You have to be a bio or an engineering company, and you have to be here in Rhode Island. And the 51% of the research has to be conducted here. And you also, have to have an SBIR coming out of a company with the address in Rhode Island. I know, especially in our region, sometimes there are companies that are regional, but the SBIR has to be attributed to Rhode Island. Now, as I mentioned, this program started in 2013. We've helped over 100 companies with all of these various programs. And I really hope that if you're interested or if you want to learn more about the program, you reach out to us. I know at Commerce, it's not just through the SBIR program, but it's also through a broader set of initiatives that we do try to help our companies. And I apologize if you can hear my dog barking, the mailman's in the neighborhood. But we do have some other programs. Most notably, there's a program called the Innovation Voucher Program. And I mention that specifically because I've had people or companies participate in this program either as they're trying to get preliminary data to go to an SBIR, or I've actually had some companies that have been through the SBIR process and then they come to us for a voucher. So a voucher is available to you as a company if you are looking to access expertise outside of your company for R&D. If you'd like to be working with an academic institution, such as the University of Rhode Island, that voucher is maybe something we can talk about. And I know we're limited here on time, so I just wanted to put that idea in your minds that we do have other programs, such as a voucher. And we're also very happy with our programs to be able to support intermediaries. I know Christian had used that word in one of the acronyms, but we also have grants that support the creation of these intermediaries. And in fact, I'm very proud to say that we provided a grant to 401 Tech Bridge to help them as they were first getting started. I know we've helped the Composites Alliance in some research, and we've also helped jumpstart the Textile Innovation Network. So I just want you to remember that if you're looking for some assistance in launching a new product or just getting more information about some of the resources in the area in Rhode Island, please always think of the Commerce Corporation. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Christine. Listen, one of our participants, one of our guests here, Adam Seeley, asked a question. Does Commerce Rhode Island match OTA grants or only SBIR?
Only SBIR, and that is by the statute that created the program.
Exactly, yeah. I will reinforce what Christine just shared with everybody in terms of the aid that they give companies. It is, you know, having been part of the national network, what we have here in Rhode Island is just so special. It's incredibly advantageous to giving a leg up to businesses that might want to try their hand in this arena and be able to have a little bit extra buffer to go do something that might be new and different for them. So please do look into this program because it's something that is a gift that our state gives that we should never take for granted. So again, Christine, thank you. With that, we have another partnering organization in the state, Polaris MEP, Manufacturing Extension Partnership. And today we have Sarah Reggio with us. And Sarah, if you could take it from here, please.
Sure. Thank you, Lee. As Lee just mentioned, my name is Sarah. I am the Center Manager for Polaris MEP. I certainly appreciate all of our partnerships. There are many today who mentioned our organization in their presentation. So let me start by saying, who is Polaris MEP? So our organization is led by Center Director Kathy Mahoney, and we are the resource for Rhode Island manufacturers. Our sole mission is to help small to medium-sized Rhode Island manufacturers improve, grow, and increase profitability. As we like to say, we have services to enhance your top line, bottom line, and pipeline. So what does that mean for you, those of you on the call hearing about these other programs? So Polaris MEP can support you if you are a manufacturing company, if you have an idea you want to bring to a manufacturing company, or if you need help understanding whether or not your idea can be manufactured to scale. As long as there's a manufacturing component to your business plan, we are likely able to help. Our team of manufacturing experts help refine your processes, build talent pipeline, as I mentioned, and can help you break into new markets as well. So Lee had already mentioned that we are Polaris MEP. The MEP stands for Manufacturing Extension Partnership. This is a national network. So although we are a statewide nonprofit organization, we have those national connections with MEPs in all 50 states plus Puerto Rico. And on average, the MEP National Network, the clients report an average of a 13-to-1 return on their investments working with an MEP center. So I'm going to keep this short, just talking about how Polaris MEP can help you and some of the services that we offer. And maybe one of these will be important to you, and then we can follow up with a conversation later. So this is a very select list that seem most appropriate for those listening today. Polaris MEP has a wide array of services to help manufacturers. But again, of the select list, let's start with process planning. So process planning, if you again are a manufacturer and you're looking to improve existing systems, we can do that. We can help you incorporate new technologies into it. Or if you have a prototype and you're wondering how it will be best to take that to production, we can help you understand what will be the best way to do that. We can also connect you with manufacturing companies. So supplier scouting is one of the areas that we are providing services to, especially right now and in these times where people are looking to find local suppliers of not only just materials, but of services, whether that be with experts, with labs, with companies that can finish a product if you have one part and that you need it to be assembled or the like. So supplier scouting is a local activity where we can help find an organization, an entity here in Rhode Island that has those services or materials within your price point, that meets your specs. But we also leverage the MEP National Network. As I mentioned before, there are 50 centers plus Puerto Rico. That's a large number of manufacturing companies or entities that support manufacturing companies that are essentially in our pocket, ready to for us to connect you with them through that supplier scouting activity. We also work with companies on what some people call innovation and commercialization, others call it technology acceleration or technology transfer. You heard about it through a number of the other partners, but as a program of the University of Rhode Island Research Foundation, we have access to URI labs, URI capstone projects, and research and licensing of existing research that comes through URI and other areas. But there's also the MEP National Network is, for those who are not aware, I have not yet mentioned it, the MEP National Network is a part of NIST, the National Institute of Standards and Technology. And there are a tremendous amount of research and laboratories that are housed within NIST all over the country. And there's a program called Matter, which connects at no cost companies in each of the states through the MEP National Network, through the MEP Center, to those NIST labs. So what could that mean for you? They're not going to necessarily test your product, right? You may have a product and you want to see what the composition is of your final product. They're not going to be able to do that. But if you have questions about certain materials, certain processes, the NIST labs, if there are any researchers who are studying that either now or in the past, they can provide support services through conversations and the like. So these are some of the areas within that technology transfer, innovation, commercialization that Polaris MEP can be your access point to those services. Again, the Matter program is at no charge through the MEP National Network. And the other area that I think we would be most beneficial to those on the call is the workforce area. That's a concern for many organizations, regardless of industry, but certainly in manufacturing. We are the sector intermediary for the Department of Labor and Training. And so that means we convene employers to create effective and in many cases no cost new hire programs, or we can help upskill your current employees to fill roles within your organization. And so we can help you fill the gap from within. So generally, if there's any connection to manufacturing within your business, Polaris MEP is here to support you. These are just a couple of the services that we have, and we are fortunate to have a number of wonderful partners who help us meet those goals and support the manufacturers here if Polaris MEP does not have the internal experts to do that.
Thank you very much, Sarah. I would like to emphasize one of the areas of partnership that has proven incredibly invaluable with Polaris MEP is that their reach is wide and deep into all kinds of expertise. Certainly, manufacturing is in their title, but I can't tell you how many times we have had, whether it's the government, technical points of contact, technical program managers or companies contact us and say, we're looking for a company that does whatever. Maybe they're a technology company that needs a certain way to encase their material or include their material, let's say, onto a platform, or produce their material or their concept or their idea or their solution. Polaris is the first partner we turn to say, who out there, not only in our local ecosystem, but across the whole MEP network, who out there can make this part or has experience in terms of manufacturability or producibility. There's very few technologies, even the non-physical technologies, that don't have a producibility or a replication component of it in its requirements somewhere down the line as it gets mature enough. Polaris MEP has been incredibly invaluable in this arena. So, Sarah, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And for those of you who don't know, Sarah mentioned Kathy Mahoney, who is now the executive director, who has a long history with the MEP network. But prior to that, Christian Cowan, who was on the phone earlier, who's now the executive director of 401 TechBridge, he was I think his title was formerly executive director of Polaris MEP. So again, our roots go far and deep, and it's part of what builds these type partnerships. So Sarah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Lynn.
With that, we have yet another incredible partner in the state, the Rhode Island Small Business Development Center. And it is recently taken over by Diane Fernaris, who, again, just like Kathy Mahoney, was part of the network across SBDCs, but now is running the organization. Diane, take it from here, please.
I'm Diane Fernaris. I'm the state director for the Rhode Island Small Business Development Center. I've been in this position since July of this year, but I have a long history with the network in a variety of capacities. For those of you who aren't familiar with small business development centers, we are also part of a national network. There are 62 SBDCs in all states and most of the U.S. territories. Every state has at least one. We're funded in part through a cooperative agreement with the U.S. Small Business Administration. And in Rhode Island here, we're hosted and supported by the University of Rhode Island. We're based here at the Kingston campus. Our program is accredited. Every 5 years we go through a very rigorous accreditation process. So, we have to meet certain standards, and we're very serious about doing that. In Rhode Island, we have 5 regional centers throughout the state. We have a staff of 6 full-time counselors and about 10 specialized counselors. So we really do cover all areas. The programs and services that we offer, again, we're not the R&D experts or the tech experts, really. We're the business experts, and that's where we put most of our emphasis. But our real bread and butter is offering no-cost, one-on-one confidential business counseling. And this is provided to entrepreneurs and any small business owner or potential owner who wants to start, grow, or maintain their business. We work in all areas of business, from financing, financial analysis, strategic planning, market research, sales and marketing, digital marketing, accounting and record keeping, you name it, we do it. Succession planning, business plan development, startup activities, and many others. But I think probably our real area of specialization is in access to capital. As many of you small business owners know, that's always an issue. So all of our counselors are very adept at access to capital and loan packaging. So if you're looking to apply for any kind of financing, and of course you need some kind of a business plan to be involved in any kind of government contracting, and that's kind of where we come into play. We can help you with the projections, all your analysis, and help you to put all of that together. All of our staff is fantastic, and they are very, very good at that. In addition to the counseling side, we have a number of webinars, a lot of training programs throughout the years. At the beginning of the pandemic, we instituted what was originally a weekly series of digital marketing webinars that were very, very well received. We're still doing that on a bi-weekly basis. They're Thursdays at 11 a.m. And we get, a lot of people that take advantage of that. And we offer all kinds of topical training at the year. So I'll put our website into the chat, and you can check out all the offerings there. Again, we work very closely with all of the partners, most of whom you've already heard here today, with Melody at PTAC, Christina at Commerce, Sarah at Polaris MEP, and we, coordinate our services that we're providing the best that we can for the small business owners in the state. I should mention also, I understand that there are some companies from outside of Rhode Island that might be on this this webinar. And if you're interested in small business development services in your state, every state has one. I'd be glad to provide the contact information for others that want to work with their SBDC in their own state. Just to give you a little bit of an idea of some of the highlights that we've had over, well, I'm going to give you figures from 2020 because that was our last full year. With the small staff that we have, we served 873 client businesses. That's really a lot for 6 people to take care of, but we did it. Over 5,000 hours of counseling were provided. And again, in the finance area, we helped companies raise over $24 million with our help. That is a little bit inflated, I think, because we had the PPP last year, the EIDL loans, RRF, and all of the government programs that were there to help the small businesses. But we're getting pretty close this year, too. So if any of you are interested in those kinds of services, we certainly can provide those. We serve a very diverse client base, again, all small businesses. But in 2020, 38% of our clients that we served designated themselves as a minority, and nearly 50% of our clients were women. So we do have a very, very diverse base of clients. Last year, we offered 37 training programs. They were mostly webinars, of course, during that year, and had close to 3,000 attendees. So we did very well with the webinars. This year, we've had, I think, over 60 already this year. So again, all those services are available. But again, the way that we kind of come into play is if you're looking at government contracting, it can be a complicated process. And sometimes people come who aren't quite ready because of business issues within their organization. So Melody or Christine or whoever will sometimes refer them back to us to work on those foundational issues, make sure you're ready to go. And that's a service that we provide. And again, there's no cost. We'll continue working with you for as long as you want to work with us. There's no time limit involved. And the services are really very high quality and very impactful to the businesses that we serve. Again, I'm going to put my contact information into the chat as well as our website. And if anybody in Rhode Island is interested in working with us, all you have to do is register on our website. When you submit the brief form, we see it on our end and we'll assign one of the counsels to work with you. So that's about it, Lee. Any questions, and I'd be happy to take them.
One thought as we go forward, you mentioned that you've got a small team, and I know your team is, yes, small, but very effective. You may want to mention a couple of names of folks that represent the regional interest. They're concentrated in the various, even though Rhode Island's a small area, right, regions of Rhode Island, including South County and Newport County. If you want to mention maybe Josh and Paul.
Yes. We have the state divided into 5 regions, just, really for our own triage and coverage purposes. But we have one of our regional directors is Paul Harden, and he is based at the Greater Newport Chamber of Commerce. And we have Josh Daly, who covers the West Bay side of Southern Rhode Island, and he's based here at the University of Rhode Island. And then we also have somebody in the northern region, Dennis McCarthy. He's based in Lincoln. We have Amit Basnet, who's based in Warwick. And we also have a startup business counselor, Sue Davis, who's working on a statewide basis. So we have the state pretty well covered.
Yeah, you do a great job. Diane, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right. And with that, we're going to move on to a little bit different type of partner. We have a phenomenal academic partner in the University of Rhode Island. It's our largest state institution with the College of Engineering and the Graduate School of Oceanography and all kinds of phenomenal programs there. Today we have Vinka Craver with us from the University of Rhode Island, not only to talk about the opportunities with the SBIR STTR program in general, but as you know, as you might know, STTR is the academic piece of the investment that the Navy makes, where you have to partner with somebody in academia for their research and expertise. So Vinka can address both of those sides. Vinka, with that, please take over.
So thank you again for inviting me today. What I would like to do is just to give you a brief overview of what we have to offer, especially at the College of Engineering. Also, I don't have slides, but I prepare a handout that I think I sent it to Lee. So I don't know, maybe you can put it with the slides. They will be available for people. And what I did in this handout is provide an overview of the facilities and also the expertise that we have available. They are related with the solicitation, with the SBIR and STTR solicitation. So most of you might be familiar with URI, and as you know, we have two campuses, one on the Kingston campus and the other at the Bay campus. Specifically for the College of Engineering and the main campus, we have the newly, pretty new building, the Facility Center for Advanced Engineering. We have over 200,000 square feet, and within the center is most of the research activity is housed in this building. We have another campus, the Bay campus, and in that campus we have ocean engineering. Maybe several of the businesses here, you know, we know that the ocean engineering is very active with the small businesses and interactions with companies. Now, in terms of resources that we have two large centers. One is we're member of the National Center for Underwater Vehicle Technology. This is part with the University of Connecticut and Electric Boat. And also we have the Cyber Physical Intelligence and Security Center, that is CIPHER. And because of the new building, also we receive a very substantial donation, and also we are partnered with 401 Tech Bridge and Polaris, and we receive new equipment. So we have over like $12 million new equipment in the facility at the Kingston campus. I'm not going to give you the whole list of equipment that we have, but we have pretty much anything that it could help you to characterize any type of material in terms of properties or composition as well. So related with the solicitation, I went to the National Defense Industry Association workshop last Wednesday. So I hear what our solicitations were, and I tried to come up with a list of the expertise. So we have expertise within the faculty that maybe they are not part of this large two centers in related with sensor development, passive or active wireless sensor, all sort of modeling in terms of mechanical, molecular, microstructure, or different materials. Also, any type of testing related with failure of material, cyber physical system, cyber security, system network security, robotics, either aerial or underwater robotics, single and multi-robot system. Also modeling, geospatial modeling with satellite information. And we have a very strong group that do signal analysis or signal analysis and research. So specifically underwater acoustic, sensor signal, and that's it, I think I have. Also, I noticed that some of the solicitations were related with geotechnical In the geotechnical field, we also have geotechnical engineering in our College of Engineering. And also we have supply chain and manufacturing optimization expert as well. Finally, we have more related with the Navy hydrodynamic fluid structure interaction and naval hydrodynamic expertise as well. Now, related with the facilities, as I mentioned, we have a series of facilities that if you don't have the capabilities for characterization of your material or testing of the materials that you have, we have all sorts of surface characterization equipment and composition. You can, for example, measure the size and the pitch diffraction of gradient, different type of the thickness of coating, surface roughness, porosity, and changes in the morphology of the polymer, ceramic, and metals. We can do all sort of liquid and gel penetration through porous network and analyze the molecular and elemental composition of material. And finally, we got recently a new microscope that allows us to do 3D modeling of devices for multi-physics simulation. Also, we have all sort of different universal testing equipment. That means different type of load cell, of every load possible from 5 kilonewton to all the way to 250. All sort of salt water under pressure tanks for testing and explosive or accelerated agent, fast speed photography, and all sort of different type of manufacturing and testing capabilities. Beside that, also we have URI have the facility, the Marine Science Research Facility, in which you can have access to sea water control space. You know that you can test any type of material at different seawater conditions, different temperatures, and different different levels of purity or filtration as well. And also the ocean engineering, we have the wave tank. Also in the handout, I also add the information that some few faculties send me in which they provide in more detail the type of expertise that I have and in which this expertise could be used and which solicitation this expertise will be used. So again, this is a very, I just wanted to make it sure and just provide an overview of what we have, the capabilities that we have. Please consider me as a point of contact. If you don't see the expertise or the type of analysis that you would like to do in this handout, please contact me. I can put you in contact with whoever might have the expertise, either in the college or outside the College of Engineering. And I think that's all that I have for. Thank you.
Thank you, Vinka. And just for the group, in case you're not monitoring the chat room, Miguel posted the handout that you had sent us in an email during this briefing. So he was able to give you the link. And again, don't stress if you miss it. Anybody online, we can get all of this to you, any of the briefings you saw, but feel free to access it right now. And it works because I tried it out, Vinka, while you were talking.
Okay,
so,
good.
I think a place like URI is very difficult to cover in 10 minutes, much less an hour in 10 minutes, because there's so much capability there in terms of intellectual capital, people expertise, departments, research, down to even equipment and facilities, that it's worth having 1 or 2 or 3 points of contact in a university like URI to make sure that we're accessing and utilizing and leveraging everything we have right here in our own backyard. Thank you, Vinka. So with that, we have had a wonderful overview of our support organizations. I'm going to review very quickly any of the questions that got posted that weren't addressed. And as I look through, we're going to take the small, what categorizes someone as a small business. We're going to take that offline a bit because the answer is a little bit detailed depending on the industry you're in, but it is based on the industry you're in, and there are guidelines. There is another question for Sarah Hurd from NUWC. And the question is, have your TPOCs, your technical points of contact, been trained to be forthcoming with regards to their requirements, more forthcoming with regard to their requirements? Because the transparency of SBIRs during the pre-release period is somewhat unique. The many TPOCs are concerned with being too forthcoming. They are concerned with saying something to one solution provider that isn't said to all providers. So can you talk to a little bit of the preparedness or the training the TPOCs might go through as a TPOC or a technical program manager, Sarah?
I was just going to touch upon a lot of the TPOCs that are engaged, are folks that have participated in the past. We do have some new TPOCs, but the Navy does do a training effort to work with the technical points of contact to kind of outline what they can talk about, what they can't talk about. And there are, you can discuss with everyone, but if it is going to give a company a competitive advantage when it comes to regards to responding to the solicitation, they can't do that. So if there's, a question about the language in the proposal, or certain attributes that are in the proposal, not whether or not necessarily your solution is the right fit to respond to that topic. Really, it's more general topic type questions as opposed to your specific response to that topic. But I don't know if I've done a good job of answering that question, Lee. But
yeah. So in my experience, and I certainly can't represent the Navy, but in my experience, the TPOCs, they get prepared, they get trained, and they make every effort to answer something that, if it's at all associated with anything that they think, well, it could give one company an advantage over the other, because the Navy is all about, DoD is all about fair and open competition, you'll see questions posted. So if a company asks a question that everyone could benefit from the answer, it will be posted somewhere in the federal publications, so that anybody going into that open period, out of pre-release, remember, when you can talk about things, into the open period where heads are down, pens are to paper, proposals are being done, you can, any company can benefit from the answers that were provided, if they're at all, associated with giving anyone a leg up on anything. So that's a really good practice. That question came from Jim McCarthy. Jim, do you have any other things you wanted addressed outside of what we just discussed? Okay. As I scan the questions, it looks like we had answered them all along the way. Anybody else want to raise your hand or take yourself off mute for a question you might have at this final stage of the briefing? I can't see all the names, so I don't know if any hands are raised, but Miguel, if you see any, just give a shout. Okay. I will, first, I want to thank all of our partners and just say a couple of wrap-up things. These are the companies and the people today that participated, the organizations and the people. These are incredibly thriving support organizations in our state. It's important that we remember that while most states have maybe an equivalent or many organizations that might sound similar, our state has these organizations that tend to work very, very closely together. That is not something you find across the different ecosystems across the U.S. Some states are so large and wielding, or organizations are pretty much stovepiped. They don't always work together, and in many cases don't. We have a really unique situation in Rhode Island where it's not uncommon to see cross-fertilization of talent, much like Christian went from Polaris over to 401. Wonderful cross-utilization of talent, and therefore an understanding of each other's missions. We set out to integrate as a large networked team in the state. We do not set out to duplicate what each other does. Our goal is to complement what each other does. So if, for instance, in 401, I can talk from real knowledge of what the team is doing. If we know that there's a service a program, a funding stream that exists in one of our partner organizations, we want to point people to it. We do not replicate it within our team, and I think I can say that for the various organizations. Ted, I think you might want to put yourself on mute. Teddy Anderson.
Yeah.
Having said that, remember, these programs and resources are your programs and resources. We are here, the group on this phone call are all here to support your organizations, companies, startups, entrepreneurs, small and large businesses. Please, let's not forget that. We are all user friendly. Sometimes it takes a phone call or two, or a knock or two at the door, or the email, figuratively speaking. But we're a phone call, an email, or a visit away. So we can help work with you to address your challenges, and where maybe that phone call got you into a resource that might not be the ideal place, we can get you to a place where it is ideal. So having said that, one last ask for any questions, feedback, thoughts, either from the speakers or from the audience. Okay.
Yeah, I have a question. This is Ted.
Ted, please.
Yeah. I've won several SBIRs, 3 with the Navy, a few with the Air Force, and a few with the Army. On the Reach Back program, can the Navy reach back, go back to, say, an Air Force or Army SBIR, or does it have to be a Navy SBIR?
So Ted, in your case, Sarah, can you answer that?
So I don't know the answer to that question, but I can find out the answer to that question, because we were just talking about reachbacks here. So I don't know the answer, but I can get an answer for you.
Okay, good.
And Ted, as you probably know, and I'll answer this here for the rest of the group, we have gone into our NUWC points of contact, the NUWC SBIR program points of contact specifically, Jason Schropfer, Sarah, as well as Drew McDougall and Ryan Blondino, to see if they can give guidance on that as well, because I couldn't answer that right off the chute either.
Okay.
And again, I don't represent Navy and don't even pretend to, but at least I could pulse,
Right.
some of the connections. So we're working on those answers for you, Ted.
Yeah, I'm a Massachusetts company, and I don't know how much of the Rhode Island programs, apply to Massachusetts as well. I got a good idea of which ones don't, but maybe there's some that I don't know about that do.
Okay. More to come on that, Ted. Anything else from the rest of the group before we sign off? Okay, this was a fast 90 minutes. I don't know about for you, but for me, it was a fast 90 minutes. Maria Zenos mentioned that she would like Miguel. Miguel, I'm sure you're on the case already, to email the College of Engineering SBIR pitch that she couldn't download. So again, if anybody else, and the reason I mention it, can't do this, reach out. I put in the chat my email, and there's other people's emails, so please do reach out. Claire King did respond to you, Ted. Her experience is that yes, reach back to a different service in SBIR is possible. So hopefully that's an indicator that all will be favorable. Miguel, will we be emailing the recording to participants?
Participants will receive an email once the recording goes live on our website.
Okay, Maria, that answers that question. And yes, Maria, you can email me, and again, I'll put it in the chat one more time. lsilvestri@401techbridge.org. Okay, and I'll immediately vet you to somebody else. No, I'm kidding. All right, well, with that, the holidays are upon us very shortly, and I hope you all have a wonderful 2021 holiday season, and stay happy, and by all means, stay healthy, and just enjoy the times we're in.
Thank you so much.
Take care, guys.